So now we have our three views that we want to bring into our sheet that we set up in the last. And there's a couple of other details that I want to do before I put it in a sheet. The first of those is in the elevations. I'd really like for the focus to be not on these grid lines and the elevation lines, but to be on the facade, though I'd like to keep them. So what I'm going to do is select those, okay? I'm going to select the grid line there, and I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to go into override graphics view, and for the whole category, not just an element, but for the whole category. And then you can see I can open to the visibility graphics dialog box, or I can just say, do this as a halftone, okay? And I'm going to apply that and say, okay. And you'll notice now when they're printed out, they're going to be very gray instead of, and they won't be quite as dominant. I'm going to do the same thing with the elevations here. Override graphics view, category, and we'll halftone these two, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing for the sections, okay? And this is all on the west elevation. And just so that you can see the difference in the two, let's select that. I should be able to override by, and I'll halftone this one too, okay? So now those are all in halftone. You can still see them, but we can see the section a little bit better. I mean, the elevation a little bit better. I'm just going to do that in one of the elevations, just so that when we print it out, you can kind of see the difference and get a little idea about what the difference is by changing or overriding particular line weights and information. So let's create our sheet now. And so I'm going to come in here. Let's go here. Close some of these down so I can see. There we go, sheets. And I'm just going to create me a new sheet. And I'll go ahead and save the project. This may take a few seconds. And then I'm going to use that same D2436 horizontal sheet that we used before. I'll say OK. And then I'm going to rename this. It may come up in your view as 104, but I want to definitely make sure it's 104. I already created a sheet before. And then I'm going to call this A07. Okay. And so this is sheet 104 A07. And then we've got A07 up here. I already put that in. If we go into manage and we go into our project information, if you'll remember, we can set the project name to A07 and, you know, correct whatever we needed to as far as this, my name or your name and your GA's name and so forth. So now we're ready to pull those sheets over into it, and we made those as separate views. So here's the first floor plan view. I'm just going to drag it over, and we can see that the crop is set too large. So I'm going to go back into that view and turn the crop on, and let's then reduce the crop area. Okay. The other thing I'm going to want it to do is turn off this elevation. So I'm going to go in here to the elevation emblem and hide in view by category so that they'll all be hidden. Okay. And then let's get this here. So that'll look a lot better now. And I'm going to then and this should be set to hidden line, not wireframe. Okay, make sure that's set to hidden line. 1/8 inch will work. And then we want to turn that crop off. And let's go back to our sheet now. Okay, and so now it's cropped correctly, but it's not in the right location. So I'm just going to drag it down here, set it in place for right now, and we'll just put that in. The name bar right there was left, so I'm going to select that. And then, of course, to be able to adjust its length, I have to select the view, and we'll pull that in. And we'll go ahead and just leave it, you know, 4, first floor, A07. If you want to add plan to it, you can. And then next thing we're going to do is put in our elevations. So I'm going to go over here to elevations. There they are. And I'm going to drag my west elevation, put it up here on top. And then drag my east elevation and put it down here in the bottom. Okay. And of course, you can see that these are grayed out because I did an override on them. These aren't, they're all black. And that's okay. Let's just leave them as that. There is some things that I can see immediately that I need an offset for. For instance, I'm going to go in here and go in to activate this view. And you'll notice that there's an overlap right here. And I'm going to go and there we go. And drop that down so that the text doesn't overlap. And so, you know, do I really want the levels on both ends of this? I don't think so. So I'm going to uncheck that. And then let's select this first level if I can get it. There we go. And uncheck that. And then those names won't appear. So that looks a little better. Cleaned it up. And so I think I'm ready to print. I've got my views. They seem to be aligned pretty well on the sheet. Probably let's deactivate this view. And we might want to make sure that those are lined up together right there. And we'll call that ready. And in our next video, I'll go through the printing routine, the correct printing routine this time, according to Nathan in the Print Bureau. Okay, so let's quit.